We talked about Trump, and he is a really great, uh, he has a lot of emotional intelligence. He's really great at playing to people's emotions, and he's very skilled at that. It's very admirable. I think it's hard to find a politician in the past who was so in touch with the emotions of the electorate that he's appealing to. People who are upset with Washington, people who want Washington to change, and people who are really desiring that sort of change. And he's appealing to people's concerns and their fears and their anxieties about what's going to happen. So he's very much in tune with their fears and anxieties. And he's expressing that in language that would never have been possible earlier, that other politicians would not be able to express because he's not a career politician. And he is taking advantage of common ground that previously was unspeakable, that previously was untreadable. He's going on that ground. He is going on things that were previously considered unspeakable because they were not civil. So he's shaking that civil discourse, the way we can speak about politics. He's talking about racial profiling. That's something that was never mentioned before. On the other side, we have Hillary, who is much more of a traditional candidate, much more controlled, much more even staid in a way. People criticize her for not expressing sufficient emotions. And we just had the report come out on how she has mishandled the security information from her email server. And so she is not expressing sufficient emotions for that breach of security. Folks are calling on her to express emotions, to express an apology, to express her concerns. And so she's not being emotionally expressive enough. She doesn't have sufficient emotional intelligence, even though she's not treading on that common ground and speaking those things people previously thought were unspeakable. So we have this really interesting emotional context where folks are happy about Trump. There are a number of people who want Trump to win because he's just very much in tune with their emotions. When we talked previously about the storytelling, he tells very good stories. He appeals to people's system one very well, their elephant. And Hillary tries to appeal to the rider, the logical self. Well, we know the logical self is only 10 to 20% of who we really are. So she's not very skilled at appealing to the 80 to 90% of who we are. So regardless of whose policies are right or wrong, we have this really interesting dynamic going on there. And so it will be fascinating to watch who will win out, the more emotionally appealing side or that kind of logical side that Hillary represents.